So Celtic and Aberdeen play this weekend, which you could say is the biggest game in Scottish football so far this season. And that's not even firing shots at Rangers or Rangers fans. I mean, I think this is probably the most fascinating game of the Scottish Premiership season so far. Is yeah, Celtic are definitely the still the big favourites, but Aberdeen, they haven't lost yet this season. They've won every game, the same as Celtic, and they look really good. They look relentless. They look like a completely different team than they were last season. Last season they were awful under Barry Robson, and even worse under Neil Warnock. They had a better end to the season, but they were absolutely woeful for most of the season. Outside of maybe Europe, which I thought they were actually pretty impressive in Europe, even though they didn't get through the group stage. But I thought they showed themselves up very well. Like, I thought they turned up well against some really good sides. But I'm just interested to see how the game's going to go, and just in terms of how Aberdeen set up. Are Aberdeen going to go after Celtic, or are they going to sit back and hit them on the counter? That's some of the most biggest questions heading into the game. And honestly, I don't know. Like, and that's why I'm really interested to see what happens on Saturday afternoon. And it's a massive game because I mean the winner obviously will be top of the league by the end of the day. But also, I think there could be a lot of goals in this game. Celtic and Aberdeen are scoring tons of goals for fun. Aberdeen do seem to be conceding goals, as we've seen from the Hearts game the other week. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I don't really know. I think Aberdeen will probably go after Celtic. I don't know if they will sit deep. I'm sure that at times they'll have to sit deeper just because how like Celtic's quality, they will have to sit deeper at times. But I would be really surprised if Aberdeen didn't go after Celtic. Now I would be very surprised if they sat as high as they probably normally do. Like if they sit with a really high line at Celtic Park against Celtic, up against attackers like Dyson Maida, Kyogo Furuhashi, and Nicholas Kuhn, who are absolutely rapid. Like, and guys like Maida and Kyogo never really get the opportunity to run in behind that often, especially from that far of a distance. So if you're gonna do a high line against those players, they're gonna absolutely love it, and they're gonna be praying that you do that because they'll get it to really exploit those defences in behind that often, just because of how deep teams do sit. So I do expect Aberdeen to be a bit higher, but if they sit really high, I would be very surprised because I think they will get punished by Celtic. But I do think there'll be goals in this game. Even if Aberdeen do suffer a defeat or even a heavier defeat, I could see Aberdeen still scoring. I could see there being like 5 or 6 goals in this game. I can't see Aberdeen getting a point though. If Aberdeen are going to get something, at least by the way that they play, it seems like they're probably going to get 3 points if they're going to get something because they're probably going to go after Celtic. I'm going to guess. Unless they come up with something completely different, they might. I mean, who knows? Jimmy Fallon, who obviously has just came this season, has had a very impressive start. He's already linked away with a move down south. He might set up completely different against Celtic. We don't know, which is why it's such a fascinating game. But Aberdeen, we need to see on the day like what we're gonna see because it's very hard to tell what they're gonna do because they might just completely throw out the window what they've been doing so far. I don't think they'll do that necessarily, but there might be certain things that they do change. In terms of Celtic, they've had a brilliant start of the season outside of the Dortmund game, of course. They're undefeated domestically, they've won every domestic game, same as Aberdeen. And before the international break, obviously they had a very heavy defeat off Dortmund and they barely get by Ross County, which I think the international break maybe came at a good time for Celtic because before those two games they were flying, but they definitely looked like they were struggling in confidence. Definitely in the Dortmund game and then definitely against Ross County, but they did get away with it. And it was probably Engels' probably worst game since he's came to the football club as well against Ross County. He really struggled. But a guy who's really stepped up in the last couple of weeks who's recently came in is Luke McKeown, who I've been extremely impressed with, and I think he's done enough to earn a start. Now it'll be very difficult because Engels has came in for massive money, and Rio Hatate is obviously our key midfielder who opens teams up. And if Aberdeen do sit a bit deeper, or I mean just in general, honestly, Rio Hatate does just open up defences. It's what he's really good at. He's a risk taker, which might frustrate some people at times because he will give the ball away, but that's what he does. His expertise is opening up defences, and he's absolutely crucial to what Celtic do at times. But I do think Luke McKellen's on the start. I do think Engels will probably play just because he is that record signing, and obviously the usual suspects will play. I think Carter Vickers is apparently back, and if he's going to play against Atalanta, you would expect him to start. So I mean that's a massive boost in terms of for Celtic defensively also. So it'll be interesting to see what Carl Vickers is like coming back from injuries. Obviously had a couple of injuries now, but it doesn't really seem to affect him normally when he plays. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, as we said, how Aberdeen set up, do Aberdeen have a chance to win here? Of course they do. Like, I mean, look at their form. Any team that's in that kind of form has a chance to win a football match. I think it's also going to be down to how Celtic perform. If Celtic play anywhere like what they did at Ross County, then Aberdeen have got a brilliant chance of winning the game because Celtic were absolutely dreadful. Of course, it's a completely different environment to playing it up in the Highlands. They're going to be playing at Celtic Park. The crowd's going to be behind them, but Aberdeen have a very good chance. Like if Celtic are not up for this game, Aberdeen will get 3 points. But I would expect that Celtic will be up for this. I think the international break probably came at the right time for Celtic, and I think we will see a response. And I do think Celtic will win in the end, a bit comfortably. But I'm not. I do think it'll be tight at times in the game. And I'm gonna go for like a crazy scoreline prediction. I'm probably gonna go for like a 5-2. I don't know why, but I see tons of goals in this game, and Aberdeen just seem to concede goals, but they also do score goals. So that's my prediction. And also, I'll put in the title as well, I think it's the biggest game of the weekend, just because if Aberdeen do win here, I mean that sends a massive statement to the rest of the league that they aren't just some short term thing, and they are a serious force, and they could separate the two old firm clubs this season, and that's their opportunity to do it as well. And even if they don't get the 3 points, if they put on a performance here today, I mean, they could still really challenge Rangers for that second spot. So let me know what you think in the comments below of how you think this game's going to go. And thanks for watching, and see you later.